Back again. Afo, how you doing, bro?
I'm good, man. My team won 7-1 this week. I'm feeling good. How did your team do this week, Jeremy?
So today on the pod,
if you couldn't guess, he supports United. I support Arsenal. We got a big game this weekend as well.
Yeah, today on the pod, I've been really loving our conversations because we've been getting to speak to people from different fields. So we've done rugby, we've done football. And now we get to speak to someone about a whole host of sports.
Different world right now.
So today on the pod, we have a very special guest.
Yes, sir.
Tyrese Johnson-Fisher. Lovely to meet you guys. Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming on,
Tyrese,
bro.
thanks for coming on, bro.
Appreciate you, bro.
I love that.
Appreciate you, bro.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, no, man. It's great to have you on the pod, bro. And I personally love to start off talking about, motivations and also background. So tell us a little bit about where you started off, family, like where you're from, all of that.
So I grew up in South London. I look at my life in such a crazy way because right now I'm sitting at 25, lived in 5 countries. I went to boarding school, but that's the complete opposite to where I grew up. I grew up in a council home in Croydon with my mum. And life was very, very tough because if there's one thing that I usually say about a lot of us black children is that we are living in a world where we're on the other end of what our parents are trying to get out of, or they're basically the first-hand people trying to learn something. And my mum was learning a lot, and she's done a lot. And so a lot of my life was trying to figure things out. We grew up in a place where her friends' children's were in and out of jail, and she was just basically like to me, you know what? I don't want to lie for you. So I'm going to take it to the extreme. I'm a teacher. Let's get the hell out of it. So she got her and I an opportunity to go to Dubai, went to school in Dubai, was playing football beforehand. And funny enough, when we were in Dubai, I was playing football. And now this South African company or parents, they basically come up to us and basically say, yo, you do realize you'd be awesome on a rugby field? I said, no way. And so I picked up a rugby ball. I literally ran around everybody on the pitch. And from then on, I just started playing rugby.
What age, bro? What age was that?
So I moved to Dubai when I was 10, going on 11. So I started playing rugby at 11.
11 years, young man. So you mentioned rugby, but you have touched several sports, bro. So sprinting, athletics, you've had rugby, you've had football. For those at home, we're talking about American football. Actually, well, hold on. You did football as well. Yeah, obviously, we'll talk a little bit about Crystal Palace as well. We don't call it soccer here, Afo. But yeah, bro, do you define yourself as an individual sport, or are you just like an all-round athlete?
I am an American footballer, but in every single sport I've played, I always felt like I was somebody doing something else. So it's like when I played rugby, people would always say I couldn't tackle. I would look at people and say, I am not here to tackle. I am a sprinter that plays American football. Give me the ball and watch me run. That's all I do. But then that's why I converted to American football, because I can literally do that. When I was in track, I was an athlete that could run just about fast enough in a straight line. So everything that I've always done, I've never really felt comfortable because I've always had to learn and pick up. And usually people start a sport at like 5 years old, carry it on for the rest of their life until they stop. But with me, I've always jumped in kind of in the deep end, and I've had to pick up really, really fast. Football was my sport, to be honest, and I actually was going to consider playing football for the rest of my life. But then I was at Oakham boarding school in the Midlands, and now the question was, do you give up your education to go to a little crappy state school for a football opportunity where obviously Jamaican mom, her behind sort of environment is just like, I don't want to take you out of this school.
Yeah. Bro, I look back at, because we both went to boarding school as well, in Hertfordshire, and I look back to our time there, and I have really fond memories of it, but I remember sport being like a core memory of it for you, and well, for us, sorry. And then for yourself, were you like singularly focused on rugby, or what was it? Was it drama? Was it studies, academics? Like, tell us about your school journey of being in boarding school.
School was tough because I literally came fresh from coming back from living in Dubai. And Dubai is so safe. When you grow up in Croydon and your mum gets scared about you even playing downstairs, in Dubai, my mum would let me take Ubers across the country at 13, 12 years old. Now you go to boarding school and you're not allowed out past the house past, 6 p.m. You guys know what it's like. That's torture.
Yeah, I had it for too long.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like at this point, you're like, whoa, slow down. I've literally gone from the extreme of having everything that any kid could dream of to now literally being stripped back. But then when I went to boarding school, it was a case of, hey, let me take every little bit of opportunity that I've got here. I did trumpet, I did trombone, I was in the school drama play, I played rugby, football, basketball, anything that was basically available. So I was just using it as an opportunity to just really get back opportunities that I knew my family never had. So I was always trying to make the most out of it. But school was just crazy because now I knew that coming in as somebody that spoke different, it was nuts because I learned how to when I got older, and I shamed myself for it, to be honest. I learned how to speak posh. And
Go on, let's go on.
what do you want me to say? So I almost felt like I code switched so much.
Yeah.
But just with the aim of fitting into school, and sport was my way of fitting in. But then it came to a point where I was just like, my value isn't just what I can do with a ball in my hands or how fast I can run. My value is based upon who I am as a person. And so it was only when I got older where I started to say, you know what, this schooling experience is something I need to get over and done with very, very fast.
So where in Midlands was the school?
So we were in Rutland. I don't know if you know Rutland, the smallest county in the entire UK. It was like Peterborough, Leicester, 40 minutes from there.
So did you feel as if the people there were completely different to you when you first went there?
Extremely different because...
Bro, that's so Croydon.
I don't know, you might go there like again with the people, like were they warm, were they friendly, like what was the vibe like?
School
How old were you when you made the move?
I was 13, I left at 18, yeah.
Okay.
School was so detached that there was a stabbing that was announced on, what do they call it, BBC. Somebody says, there are stabbings in England.
Oh yeah, so they don't watch the news.
It's not even watching the news, they've never seen it. If you've only seen your bubble, how do you know what's outside of it?
Yeah.
That's how different people were to me.
So when they met you, or when they were, I guess, around you, were they asking you these kind of questions? Like, what was it like? Like, what was the vibe? What kind of questions were they asking you when you joined the school?
What's it like not having a dad?
Wow.
Like, what's it like being black?
Were they like amazed by you? Because sometimes I feel like when you go into an environment where maybe they're not used to having a bunch of black kids, or someone comes from London where maybe they see that as the stabbing city, all of a sudden like they see you as like, I don't want to say like an animal, but like they see you as like a...
Yeah, they just see an animal.
Okay, for lack of a better word, yeah.
They see you like an animal.
Wow, like they're fascinated. It's like, oh, this new person, like, just like a wow factor. Is that what it was like?
100%. Like, it was 50-50, you know, because I'd say 80% of the girls were amazed, and I'd say 50% of the guys were amazed, but then 50% were very jealous. And I think what changed life for me in school was going viral. Now, because in seeing somebody who you don't necessarily think is on the same level as you, getting notoriety and somewhat fame at a really young age, and your value that you give upon people is based upon wealth. Now, when you see somebody do that without that, it doesn't make sense to you. And the first thing that you can think about is hatred. First of what comes to mind is hatred.
Yeah.
So I faced a lot of hatred, to be honest. And that's why school was such a weird environment for me, because it just felt like a means to an end, to be honest. It was just a case of, I'm just going here because I have to. Like, I'm getting paid a full scholarship. I've got to do some parts of what they say. But then again, it was school where I learned a lot how to stick up for myself. Like, I started, and young black male, short back on sides, basically the same haircut as you. And they said to me, whoa, what are you doing? I said, what do you mean? They said, that 0.5's too short. Look at the rule book. I looked in the rule book. They said hair can't be shorter than a 3. I said, whoa. I said, whoa.
These men don't know what a 3 looks like on black hair.
So I had to cuss them out. I said, you do realise, right? We look a lot sharper with shorter hair. Like, we are the complete opposite to obviously white people. And then, funny enough, we move on, I get dreads.
So did they allow you to have your hair, or did you have to have a 3?
My dreads, my.
So your haircut, obviously, in the rule book, it said 0.5. Did they force you to have to cut
So
your
you're
hair?
gonna have to suspend me.
So how did that play out?
I was good at sport.
Hey, ball talks.
And then it got even worse, right? So I got dreads, and one of the teachers comes up to me and goes, you know, he's given the time that we live in, people with dreadlocks, they're deemed to be the lower levels of society.
Wow.
And I don't want people to start feeling like, you know, you're extremely impoverished or you're just not intelligent. And then the school said to me, you know what? If you keep having your dreadlocks, if you don't cut them, we're going to suspend you. So I said, okay, expel me, because I'm pretty sure that any other school in this country would take me. But then also as well, you guys should be ashamed of yourself, because you use people from other cultures, backgrounds, skin colors to promote diversity within your school. But then how can you promote diversity if you're not willing to accept diverse people? You're literally contradicting yourself. But then a week later, they changed the whole rule book. The whole school book, the whole rules changed. And that was probably my proudest moment, to be honest.
Bro, that is a sick moment. I want to just quickly rewind back, because you touched on your viral moment. 3.2 million views, I think I've seen it has, probably more. This is where you were at the age of 15, playing for Oakham, and you're just running through, just going, I think it's like 5 tries in a row. You're just running through these people like it's easy work, literally. Sure. From that, I remember speaking to agents reaching out to me. It's like, do you know this kid? I'm like, no. But also, it's just like, you touched on it a little bit around sort of the negative response that you kind of got from that. Can you just touch on that a little bit more?
Yeah, for sure. So it was a crazy time, because I didn't expect it, to be honest. Like, it was another, like, in the most humble way, it was just another day for me. Because now, if they thought that was a good game, I was scoring like 8 tries a game, like at that same period. So when it ended up going public, for me, it was just like, oh, that's cool. They shouted me out. Because we never really saw what viral looked like in the rugby world, right? And then I'm seeing people that I've not spoken to from Dubai, people I went to high school messaging me saying, hey, have you seen this? At this point, I'm realizing, oh, this is actually starting to pick up some traction. And you said 3.2, that was just on YouTube, because it was like 30, 40 across all platforms. And so when you're like a kid now and you're seeing Sport Bible, 7 million, Lil Wayne post it, Ashton Kutcher post it,
Weezy drop,
NFL posted it, all of them posted it. And so now at this point, yeah, it's pretty cool, but you know what it is? And people never believe me, but the way I was growing up, I was always, and I still am, I'm a Virgo, innit? So I'm just like, next thing.
Yeah.
So like, it came, but I wasn't that excited, because I didn't know what it meant. It looked cool.
Yeah.
But it was next thing. But then I just realized that everyone around me changed. Like, we're not having the same conversations that we were having before. You're not speaking to me in the same way that you were speaking to me before. And now, when you're coming to me and you're telling me that I don't deserve to go viral, I'm saying, whoa, when did I say I did deserve to go viral? Or when we're going to other schools and everybody's chanting, screaming my name, and now I'm hearing from other people that so-and-so said this about you. When you're older, hey, it doesn't matter. Chinese whispers is what it is.
Yeah.
But when you're young, you're 15, you're so impressionable. When people around you who are meant to be the closest people to you are there hating on you, that was such a terrible experience. I remember I was about 15, 16, finally got a chance to train with some of the big boys, right? And I'm thinking to myself, whoa, if this isn't making it, what the hell is? Like, I finally made it. I finally got to the place that I want to get to. I get a chance to train with such a great team now. That's all I ever wanted. Nothing else, no fame, just team. I just want to play sport. Finally in a great
Which
sport.
team are you referring to?
So I was with Leicester Tigers, right?
The Tigers at this point, okay.
I go into the building and we're chilling in one of the rooms. One of the guys says to me, "How did you go viral? You didn't deserve to go viral. You're not even that good." I'm thinking, okay. And then I'm hearing 3, 4, 5 of the other guys chipping in too. So this whole dream that I've had is just blown up in my face right now.
Yeah.
And at that point, I said, whoa, I hate this. I hate not just the sport, but I hate being or having gone viral. Because now, you and I don't have a connection. You and I don't have a relationship. Actually, the reason why I think I made it is because I look up to you and I'm in the same room as you. And this is what you say?
Yeah.
Okay, say less. I can't do this no more.
I want to touch on a few things there, bro. Wow, thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
You, obviously, Croydon, Dubai, Oakham. Did you get the opportunity to like create like close friendships growing up? Because obviously you were moving around from place to place. I asked that because the second part of the question is like when you were going through that period of so much negativity over something so positive, who was like your support network? Who were you leaning on?
Great question. Track community. I think that's why my life right now is I'm at such peace because I'm training with my friends.
Yeah.
I'm training around track people. I found in my life that the track community has been the most accepting to people because people love hard work, nothing else. Doesn't matter what skin color you are. Once you work hard, people respect what you do.
Especially with track, it's so like it's a number.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter like if you're funny, if you're not, it's literally there's a number to put next to you, right? This is how good you are.
But even so, because of how much work you have to put into track, everybody respects everyone that does it because you can't cheat track.
Right.
You can't go out the night before. We've all done it. We've gone out the night before, gone to training the next day, and we still managed to have a great training session.
Yeah.
You can't do that in track because it will literally show up in the first rep. You can't cheat it. So I just found that community for me was always something that somebody that I can lean on. I had my friends in Dubai, kind of lent on them, and just really strong family network.
Yeah.
Because I guess at that point, I didn't really have many close friends at school because I just felt like everybody turned on me, to be honest. And it's so interesting because now that I've got older, 25, I've said it many times, it's going to be imprinted.
That would be the name of the episode.
25. Rod wave all over. And now everyone always comes up and they always say, damn, I'm so sorry. Okay, I hear it. So it was such an interesting period because I just felt, I had people, but when you're at boarding schools, you guys know you're away. So you have family, but you're so far, so you do really feel isolated. And what made it worse was we had the boarding houses and I was kind of like a sacrificial lamb because I was in like the non-sporty boarding house and they wanted me to be the first sporty person to help make the house kind of look cool, to be honest. And so, I was a sacrificial lamb, but at the sacrifice or consequence of my own happiness. So I did really feel terrible. So school was terrible, really. I'll be honest with you. School was terrible.
That's wow. That's it's interesting when I hear people talk about from like our kind of background talking about boarding school because we were really lucky at boarding school. We had literally each other, but then also like the year below us there was like 10 black students all in the same boarding house. So we got to connect. But like listening to you when you were in Oakham in the Midlands, definitely not that sense of community around you at all. So that's why I think it's even more impressive that you managed to like stand up to the school and like talk your shit. You know, where did that come from? Where did that confidence and like inner belief come from?
My mom.
So that's about your mom, man.
You know what it is? It's such an interesting one because I've understood it as I've got older now. I've learned how to be a lot more masculine as I've got older. But when I was young, not that I was feminine, it wasn't feminine. I was cool. I chose my words wrong. Yeah. I was a lame lad. I chose my words wrong. Yeah. But you know what I mean by that was I was sensitive, innit? And sensitivity helps to a degree, but it can hurt you as well. But my mum taught me how to be really sensitive. So I'm not going to let you just say what you want and I'm not going to feel it. But then on the other hand, because I didn't have that male presence, maybe I was always fighting not having that I was willing to stand up for myself because I was speaking something that I wish I had. But then also as well, I've always been so culturally proud, whereby everywhere I've been, I've always been one of the only Jamaicans or one of the only black people. I was one of 2 black people in my year, only Jamaican in my one of 2 Jamaicans in my school. So I love my country. And so because I love my country, and funny enough, when I was younger, and we'll see what happens when I get older, when I was like 7, my dream was to be the Prime Minister. And so because I had that in the back of my mind, yeah, I was an athlete. But then my thing was like, when I'm older and I want to start speaking to people, how can I not want to stand up for myself and be confident if I don't have the ability to stand up to people who are only a little bit bigger than me now? But then also as well, I've always had a really arrogant thought. And some would say arrogance. For me, I'd say it's confidence. But then also as well, I'd say it's a bit of inner belief. I don't believe anybody's better than anybody. And I say that because I'm a man of God. And so because I don't believe I'm bigger than you or you're bigger than me or you're bigger than this person or that person, now, if we're going to talk, let's talk. So just because you're a teacher and just because you have this self-proclaimed power, that doesn't mean you can dictate to me what the hell the rules are. Nah. And that's why I was such an angry kid, because I always had it in the back of my mind. But now, because I'm so proud of where I come from, and because I don't believe you're bigger than me just because of your age, I was willing to say what the hell I wanted. And I knew that you couldn't do anything against me because I did. And literally was like, I literally went viral. So at that point, it was like, I knew I was so safe to do anything.
Because you knew the school needed and wanted you there. If it wasn't for sports, if it wasn't for like fame, you could literally just go to another school, like any school in the country really, right? And then they would have taken you on.
Pretty much. And to be fair, like whenever we had people that would visit the school, who do you think they'd ask?
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean? They made me a prefect. They made me like Decem, which is like the upper school, one of 10 prefects. So because of that, yeah, it was very arrogant. I didn't know what power I had, but I didn't abuse it, but I just made sure they didn't abuse theirs either.
Fair play, bro.
Shout out to you, bro. Because again, like that, like I said, Jeremy mentioned, we've been through that similar experience, kind of boarding school and haircuts and the way you have to present yourself a certain kind of way. And sometimes kind of standing up for yourself can come across in a negative way. And even though it's just you just being yourself and ultimately trying to stand up on what you believe is right.
What school was it?
St. George's in Harpenden. So again, ours wasn't as negative in terms of like the experience that you had.
Sure.
And obviously for us, it was fortunate that we had a bunch of we had a bunch of Nigerians that kind of joined around the same time as well. So that also helps. But yeah, again, it's tough to kind of hear, I guess, a young person kind of going into an environment that maybe they're an environment they're not used to, and then trying to kind of just make the most of it, and then people kind of being negative towards them and not really helping them to grow, but instead trying to, because someone else would be in that environment, in that situation, and struggle. I might not even be able to kind of come through it. And shout out to you, bro.
Have you watched the BBC Borders show?
It's so real.
Yes.
Yeah, it's relatable like crazy.
My mum told me about it.
Yeah.
And she's been watching it. So
yeah,
awesome.
I highly recommend anybody who's been to boarding school, give that a watch, man. Give that a watch.
It's so mad, yeah. And YOLO, like I literally did a TikTok about it the other day. When I was in school, right, I played with the year above, went to South Africa. And, you know, obviously this team, I was the only black person in the team, right? Actually, one of two, I'm lying, one of two. But one day, yeah, these guys start saying to me, yo, you know who you look like? I said, whoa, who do you think I'm going to say?
They're going to say, what, Lil Wayne?
I don't even know.
Well, did you have dreads at that time?
Look, no, I had a high top. Yo, like, it doesn't even matter. They said I look like Caesar. I said, hold on.
See what from the movie?
They said, ho, 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 Caesar. I said, whoa.
Wow.
But then, you know what's so crazy, right? In 2025 now, again, put another print. It was only 2 years ago where I actually watched the movie. So this whole time, I actually never knew what they were saying.
You didn't get what they were saying?
I didn't get it. I thought I was cool. I thought I was just fitting in.
That's
because
crazy.
they were just allowing me to fit into to the community and to the culture. Nah, gang. They were calling me Caesar, bro. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Yeah.
I didn't even want to say the movie.
So
I didn't want to,
But I wasn't sure. I was like, Caesar could be
That's
anyone.
how mad it is.
Yeah.
That's how mad it is.
Bro, which is why I was making
Bro,
the
I
point.
wish you were at school with us.
The fact you've been able to come through that, bro, is amazing. And you're smiling through, and obviously it's great to hear about your relationship with God and what else helped you amongst it. But bro,
Well,
that's
God.
serious.
We're gonna touch on that in a little bit, bro, for sure. Okay, wow. Okay, so now you're out of school. You're playing academy rugby. You are part of different academies. I think Leicester, Bristol.
Only Leicester.
Leicester at the time,
Only Leicester.
right? You're going through the rugby quote unquote like banter, hazing experience. At that point, were you like, okay, I'm going to be a rugby player now, or did you have in the back of your mind saying like, yo, I'm out of here?
Nah, I hated rugby. I only played rugby because I was good at it. I'll be honest with you, I never really loved rugby. I literally only played rugby because I knew I could run around anybody. My love was on the football field, as in the football pitch, football, soccer, and or the athletics track. Like the athletics track was where I felt at home.
Yeah.
Every single time I used to go back home, I just felt at peace. I used to come back for at least a couple of days just really happy because I was on that track. So I actually took a bit of time out of rugby, to be honest. I took a year out in 2016 and I just ran track full time. Won a national championship.
Wow.
Was top 3 in the country over 100 meters. So I literally I thought I was destined to run track forever. But then something came into me and I was just like, you know what? Maybe God made me go viral for a reason. Maybe that was because I was meant to play rugby. And in the back of my mind, I've always had the thought of, hey, I know what some of us go through in this rugby world. How about I try to change that? How about I try and stand up to the enemy, so to say? Or how about I try and make it more acceptable or appealing for people like you and I to be able to play the sport? Because I know every single one of us have had some form of different experience, but still not the easiest with the sport, right? So I got back into it and I was like, whoa. And then as much as I'd love to help, I'm sorry guys, I can't do this. And then I was like, sorry.
Bro, when you're going training, like, did you feel anxious? Like, how were you feeling? Were you dreading going to training?
Every time. Every single time, because it was like, it didn't feel like I was playing with my friends. It just felt like I was playing with a bunch of guys that hated me. And you know what messed me up? Was I wasn't into all the hazing rubbish. Like I said, I grew up in Croydon, so yeah, mum's sensitive, but I still had a man in me, you know what I mean? So it's like, if you try and tell me to do X, Y, Z, I'm sorry, I'm not doing it. Like, it's not happening. But then also as well, the worst I ever did was sing. I played it the year above, so like they couldn't really do too much to me. And I knew when my year got to it, they hated that, to be honest. And I just felt like an outcast. Many of the rugby teams that I was in, I always felt like an outcast. So it was like, 2017 came, I had me actually strip back the story. In 2015, I don't know if you guys know IMG Academy, massive high school in Florida. They actually offered me a scholarship, but then also did Michigan. Michigan offered me a scholarship as well when I was in 2015 as well, when I was like 15.
Wow.
And then 2017 comes, I get a bunch of American sport, like schools or high schools, coming to me asking if I'd like to make that transition like properly. And then the Under Armour America contacted me and say, hey, we want you to be the first Brit to ever play in the Under Armour America game, or first person outside of America. And for people that don't know, it's like you go away for like a whole week, cameras follow you everywhere. It's an ESPN game. It's Under Armour sponsored. You literally go into this Under Armour room, you get an iPad, and you literally pick every single Under Armour gear that you want. Like, it's every 17, 18-year-old's dream. And for me, I was like, whoa, am I tired of rugby? Yes. Do I love just running at people and just being an athlete? Yes. Do I like tackling? No. Okay. Do I love America?
Honest.
Yes. So, you know what? This sport actually makes a lot of damn sense. So I just took it in a heartbeat, to be honest. So as soon as I took my rugby boots back, I was so happy. I was smiling. I was the happiest. You shouldn't leave something and feel such relief, because that does tell you that you really did hate it. And as soon as I jumped into the American football world, I was like, you know what? I'm a novice, but I hate what I was doing so much before that I'm willing to jump into any fire now.
Was that community a lot more welcoming?
It was 50-50, I'll be honest.
Okay.
Because it's like, you go to this game, you're arguably top 10 in your position in all of America.
And even at this point, you've never played American football. So I know, them kids are already hating a little bit.
So I'm saying,
Yeah.
and you know Americans, I love my Americans, man. Americans are haters. I'm gonna be honest, yeah? So at that point, it was just like, you know what? Some people are actually digging it, to be honest. Like, some people are actually showing me bare love. And it was only when I got home where I did my research and I realised who everybody was. Justin Fields, Jamar Chase, JC Horn, Kyle Pitts, like, the list keeps going. And when those guys literally treated you like a brother, awesome. Awesome. Obviously, you had a couple people that would say XYZ, but in life, who doesn't? But for literally being thrown into the fire and you're being helped by guys who have literally seen it all, like, I'm talking guys getting helicopters flown into their school during the middle of the day just to pick them up, just to take them to view another, like, college. Like, those are the sort of people that were showing me love. Okay, cool. I can do all this. I can do all this sport.
Bro, so you mentioned that obviously you had some negativity from the guys at UA, some of the other players who were there. What was different about the rugby at Leicester when they were giving you unfair criticism in comparison to these guys?
You know what? I wouldn't even say the UA was that bad. Okay. It was just like, how? It was just a questioning.
Right, okay. That makes sense.
But that's normal.
Yeah.
So it's not that negative. But then, I guess you don't know what you don't know. A lot of people in that American society haven't really met somebody from the UK. So it's like, how can you play, like, football? You've never left the country, or like,
you gotta work on that accent, man.
Terrible. I can do better than that. It's just like, I guess for them, it just didn't make sense to them how I could play football or even consider playing football coming from a place that wasn't America. So that's where the confusion came. But the rugby, it was like, you don't even deserve to be here. I'm not even gonna ask you why you're here. I don't want you here.
So rugby felt like that. Like,
yeah.
They felt like you did not deserve to be there.
Every single time. Every single time. And that's why it was always confusing to me, right? Because I was young, so I used to read comments a lot more than I do now. Now I don't really read comments like that. But when you're young and you're seeing hate, and it's like, oh, this guy's this guy's that. It's like, gang, I didn't even want this to go viral. I don't even like this sport. So you're throwing out hate to somebody that doesn't even want to be sat on this chair. It doesn't make any sense to me. It was the only track I loved.
So tell us, what was the journey now that you did the UA All-American? What happened next?
So got a bunch of colleges.
Did you play in the game?
Played in the game.
Okay. What was that experience like playing in the actual game? So again, I'm assuming that week was your first time ever playing American football.
Yeah.
And then being chucked into the game, playing running back. What was that experience?
Experience was crazy. Like, everything we did was under a microscope. Cameras everywhere. Like, you didn't have a second to breathe, to be honest, but not in a bad way, because it was a taste of what you'd want to be the future, right? And now you're playing in front of like 5-10 million people on ESPN1. Like, it was insane. The week was crazy. We had 2 sessions a day, and having never played football before, 2 2-hour sessions is crazy. And everywhere there were scouts, everywhere there were all these NFL players, like Coach Deion Sanders. He was the other coach in the other team. We had Ray Lewis was there, like all of these big names, and you've never played football before. Like, that's such an unfair way to get your first football experience, because you're literally sat with legends. So it just felt like such a surreal, humbling moment. I'll be honest, that's probably my favourite sporting moment ever. Just that whole experience, because I knew I was so far behind everybody, but I was happy to be, because I was actually genuinely happy to just be there for once. You know, usually you want to be the best. I didn't need to be the best at that day. I just wanted to just be there. I was happy. And going from that to then now I'm in school, I've just had that whole experience. Now you got to like humble yourself, because like I said, you're playing in front of like 10 million people, like crazy. I was kind of confused, because now you're getting a bunch of colleges that are showing their love. You know, you're at Penn State, Texas, like big colleges. And
Bro, why didn't you pick one of those?
You know what? Coastal Carolina gave me my first offer.
Okay. And
we were all about loyalty. So we didn't really understand the sport. And guys transfer left, right and centre these days. Or decommit X, Y, Z. But Coastal, because they showed me my first bit of love, for me, I was just almost in that point of like, you know what? Yeah, I like the idea of this place. It's a new program. Football's got like 4 different divisions. Division 1 split into 2, so that's 2. Division 2, Division 3. And so FBS schools, football bowl schools, and then your FCS schools, right? Now, obviously Coastal was an FCS school, and now they're an FBS school. They're allowed 73 scholarships. They've moved up. They've have to go from a 15K stadium to mandatorily needing a 25K stadium. It just seemed like a place that was growing. Yeah. And now to be somebody that's never played before, to now go into that environment and to be able to potentially be a pioneer, awesome. Isaiah Likely went to my school. Yeah. And so you can see how they can create players, and it just made a lot of sense. Obviously, I don't think it was a bad decision, but there were bigger schools that potentially it would have been a little bit different. Right. We are a small school. That means we don't have as much money. That means we don't have as many coaches. That means you're not getting the right amount of coaching time. And that was such a eye-opener for me, which is one of the reasons why I transferred, right? Was because I come into this environment with the aim of potentially getting all this time in the world. I'm going to play X, Y, Z. I have these all false pretenses in my head. And now you're there and you're not even getting much contact time with a coach. It's like I left rugby because I hated it. I'm now at I'm now in this new sport. And I can't even speak to the coach like that because he's so busy with the guys that are starters.
Did he sell the dream that you would have access to him?
So this is what screwed me. I got recruited, and the coach, the running back coach, ended up changing position, but he never told me until I got there. And that hurt me so much because it's like I came for you, gang. Like I came for you, coach. And now I wanted to make this change. I wanted to change this, change the whole trajectory of my life to play this sport. Yeah. And now I've gone to this college, which is a game-changing opportunity for me to now not even be the coach that I actually came for. Heartbreaking. So that's what I'm saying. It was such a mad experience for me because now I really got humbled. Usually in colleges, you have 6 running backs. We had 11.
11.
Wow. We were 11 deep. So when I mean, you see in rugby, right? You see when you're doing just what is it, threes, channels of threes, right? It's always like, yo, let's go, bro, let's go. And you can take my rep. Out there, no.
It's a moment to shine, yeah.
Say for example, there's 11 of us. Think about it like this. sometimes there are 6 reps to go around. So whoever can get in that line first is good, or whoever can claw their way to first, second. First is always taken for the big dog.
Right.
But second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, that's to play with. So now you got to fight your way against a bunch of guys that are questionable as to why you should be there or not. But also as well, they're fighting each other too. Right, so you have to turn into a dog. So as far as turning into a dog, that was crazy. So Coastal was cool experience for me. What hurt me actually a lot was, so usually we travel to games with 73 people. We had 119 people in a team. Massive. And finally, I get my opportunity. We usually get the depth chart on a Monday for the game on Saturday. Depth chart's there. Boom. Game 6 or 7. My name's on it. Excited.
Okay.
Day later, get back spasms. I'm like, man. So 2 or 3 weeks down the line, 11-man deep roster for the running backs, your name just goes straight down. Impossible to get back up.
Well, and all those 11 running backs, did they have scholarships?
So I think out of 11 of us, from my knowledge or from my memory, 3 didn't.
Wow.
That's a lot of scholarship.
That's a lot of scholarship.
For one position as well.
Because again, so, bro, taking a step back now, comparing rugby to American football, skill-wise, what was the biggest difference for you? Obviously, you're picking it up. I think it's tough to pick it up at college level. You're not even high school, straight to college. So what was the biggest difference skill-wise for you?
It's such a hard question because everything's so different. I have to answer it this way because I was having a debate with my athletics group a couple of days ago, and we were talking about, my coach was trying to say rugby and American football is similar. And I was saying, if you're speaking about it from a distance, absolutely. But now if you actually play the sports, you will fail playing or transitioning if you think they are similar. They are actually so opposite in everything that you do. Because now in American football, you have to get ready to get your head smacked. And you have to put yourself in position to get your head smacked. In rugby, or you have to protect yourself, sorry. In rugby, you learn different positions, but you'll always know that you're never in a vulnerable position because nobody's going to smack your head. And if they do, red card, X, Y, Z, even in them days. So, and it was so tough, but then also as well, it's like the body movement. Everything has to be so precise because it's a game of inches. In rugby, I can take 2 or 3 steps to be able to make a move. In American football, that move that I want to make, I got to be able to make that in 2 steps. Everything has to be so peculiar. But then also as well, I got to now learn a whole nother language. Like the terminology that we're using is different. We're not saying route, we're saying route. I'm with guys from the south. So like, I don't even understand what the hell they're saying in English, let alone football. So it's like, you're learning all of these little nuances and you're catching the ball different. In rugby, everything is in front of you. In front of you, pass it to the side. In front of you, kick. In front of you, whatever. American football, it's coming this way, it's coming that way. Even the weight of the ball is heavier. So, and your only goal is to catch it. But now you got a helmet on, so you can't even see the ball properly. So it's like all of these things that happen to you at once. At some point, you're like, am I ever going to learn this? It's crazy.
Because I remember, so Afo and I both played American football at university, Loughborough, Nottingham.
In Leeds. So I was in Leeds, I played wide receiver.
Yeah, I was a defensive lineman tackle. And I remember, for me, the hardest part was we were doing film study sessions and all that. And I was falling asleep, man. I could not learn language. I was in the old, and like, how did you manage that?
If I fell asleep, my scholarship
sending you back to Croydon.
You know what I mean? It was hard, man. But you know the thing was, I was so grateful. I was so happy to be there that I just was always trying to impress.
Right.
So like I was always trying to learn. I was always trying to watch film because I didn't understand the sport. Didn't understand the sport, and I'm still learning it all the time. At the end of the day, you're always a student of the game, right? So I actually enjoy. I'm such a psychopath. Maybe you're like this too, right? But I actually enjoy not being good at things because it challenges me now. Now I have to really, really push myself, and that's what I thought it was. So yeah, film was tough, but I felt like I was getting better every single time.
Did you have a teammate that helped at all? So not necessarily running back, but any other position that helped you to get accustomed to American football? And where's Coastal Carolina? So,
You know Myrtle Beach?
no.
It's literally like southeast coast,
Okay.
like Myrtle Beach,
So what state? What state is it in?
South Carolina.
Okay, South Carolina. Okay.
Literally, like, we were the #1 party college
Really?
in 2018.
More than Arizona State that gets the love. Yeah.
That year, yeah, we were the #1 party.
So you're enjoying?
What? I dabbled.
Bro,
Had my fun.
the English accent as well.
Oh, yeah.
Damn.
Eating well.
I don't eat.
He's a real Jamaican.
Jamaicans don't eat, man.
Oh, bro. Okay, fair.
That's hilarious, bro.
All right, bro. So, okay, South Carolina, enjoying life. What was happening post college? I think you said you transferred.
So I was going through a transfer period. Lucky enough, I had the best transfer period ever because they offered me to be in the track team. I said, hell yeah. Still get to keep my scholarship, get to travel across the whole country to run track, just running the relay, like still get to be active, meet some new people, awesome. And then I got back to England and I was like, I need to have a consideration as to my future. Like, I love football, but am I only playing football because people have told me that I'm good at it? Or do I actually love football? I'm in that same dilemma as rugby, not the disrespect,
Yeah.
but in the sense of I don't know if I actually love what I'm doing. So then I'm talking to a couple of rugby friends and I'm like, do you enjoy being a pro? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, I don't have to study. I can just play sport. Let me message my agent. So I messaged my agent. I was just like, my old rugby agent. I was like, hey, what about rugby?
I said, like, okay, I'm coming back.
I said, why not?
Yeah.
I had a couple colleges that offered me football-wise, and my agent basically gave me a list of a couple teams that said they're happy to bring me in, and Bristol were one of them. So I went down to Bristol, met Pat Lam, and he won me over straight away. One of the most important things to him was, what's your why? And his reasoning behind that was, it doesn't matter what you do in life, your why is always going to drive you. And I know for a fact that some guys in this building, they're only playing the sport because it pays them. There's going to be days where you hate everything that you're doing, but your why is going to wake you up out of bed every single day. And I wanted to play for that man, no matter what capacity it was.
What did you tell him your why was?
So my why for me, still is I've grown up in a marginalized community in the sense that I know what it feels like to be disrespected. I know what it feels like to be undervalued and to almost feel like there is no way out.
Yeah.
And I want to be able to be in a position where I can show those people who feel like they are voiceless that there is a way out and there is light at the end of the tunnel. So that's always been my motivator. That's always been what's pushed me, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if that's in a working capacity, sporting capacity, whatever it is. If you wake up and you're not putting in the work, now you're thinking about the young you who wish he was in your position, or the young you that never had opportunities, or the young girl over there who has never had the opportunities that you had, and now you're being disrespectful to her because you're not giving everything that you have with your privilege. That's terrible.
Bro, I'm gonna kind of formulating it in my head as I'm asking it, but previously you said you hated rugby when you left at that time, right? And now you're saying, obviously, your why when you're speaking to Pat Lam is, you know, I need to obviously do it for like my community and those people that are marginalized and people that have been told they're not good enough. But you hate rugby. So how did that come together?
Tapped. So I just wanted to be a professional athlete.
Right.
And it didn't matter what that looked like. It didn't matter what sport, I just wanted to be a professional athlete. I thought that my hate for rugby would go if I was in a professional sporting environment. But then I was confused because I was thinking to myself, maybe I don't hate rugby. Maybe I just hated the people that I was around. And I figured out that was the case. I didn't hate rugby like that. As I got older, I realised that. But then also as well, when I first got into the rugby field, so I signed my contract, cool, move up to Bristol a couple of weeks later, had a team meeting, got introduced. And now, after that team meeting, Pat's like, yo, put your stuff on, go out. And that at that moment, it didn't even click to me, like, I'm playing rugby. I just thought I was a professional athlete. I didn't realise
it was real.
It actually was.
Yeah.
And I will never forget that moment. It was so stupid. I just forgot that professional sport was rugby. And if that makes sense, I just had the love of being a professional athlete without realising what it was.
What it came with.
100%. So now, obviously, I'm there. And it was cool. You know, it was a struggle in some elements, for sure. But I learned so much about myself. And I learned rugby from the very beginning. Like, any rugby that I thought I could play before, out of the window. It was humbling. Like, didn't really learn how to do this, didn't learn how to do that. Was told I couldn't do certain things. But now, I've been told, yo, I need you to do everything. So this is how we're going to do it. Having people around you every day that had the time to give to you was awesome. But then, I just got to a point where I just realised, hey, I feel like I hate this again. But then not only do I feel like I hate this again, I actually feel like I love American football. Sometimes I guess when you take a break from a relationship, you actually realise you love that person. And that's exactly the relationship that I felt with American football. It's like, okay, I've left, but you know what? I miss being in them pads, man. Like, I miss just running, just being an athlete. So at that point, I was just like, you know what? I'm sorry, Pat. You only want guys here that are going to give their all. I can't give that to you right now because I don't love this.
After how long? So you were Bristol for how long?
So I would have joined in like August. I think I left in like February, March.
Okay. Just give it some time.
Well, no, I mean, bro, that's a relatively short period of time, though, isn't it? Like, sure. For you to, you just felt in you that, this, I prefer that. I love that more than this.
Yeah, I feel like I loved it, and I just wasn't happy.
Was it an awkward conversation saying to him, I know I came back, I'm now trying to go back to what I left?
It wasn't awkward for me because I just felt like I was just speaking my mind. I wasn't acting. I just expressed how I felt. So if anything, it felt like a relief.
Was he understanding?
100%, because he only wants guys that love. Like, he's one of those guys that it doesn't matter how good you are. He just wants guys that want to play for the badge. He just wants guys that are passionate. And so I knew that he'd understand that I didn't love it anymore. And I didn't know if I ever did love it.
So to dig into that a bit more, what do you think you didn't love? 'Cause obviously initially it makes sense with the teammate aspects of it. Again, it wasn't the warmest of environments. But now you're in Bristol, you've got a good head coach. What was it about rugby now? Was it that, was it that you had to tackle? Again, obviously you mentioned that a few times. Like, what do you think? What do you think it was that made you really feel, I actually really do not like rugby?
Many things. You know what? I was the only black person in the team at the time.
Okay.
So I didn't really feel like I had anybody that I could lean on. I was from Croydon. Most of the guys were from obviously other countries. A lot of the guys were from Bristol or in and around that. So you didn't really understand what a London boy was like. And maybe I was a bit more of a token London kid when I went there, because maybe I had that chip on my shoulder. Maybe it was the hidden trauma from my younger years that I hadn't really have got over. So I kind of went in maybe like a victim, knowing that things were going to be said. But then rugby is such a weird world because it's one of those sports where seniority plays such an important role. Like I say, hazing shows you that. Because when you haze, now you're basically saying, I'm more senior than you. I dictate what you are going to do now. In American football, you can't do that. Because a lot of the guys, not to make the stereotype, but a lot of the guys come from the hood. And if you want to talk to a guy from hood and you want to tell him to do X, Y, Z, he'll kill you. For real. So in that point, I just realised that, wait, rugby isn't my thing.
There's a really exciting part of your sporting career that I want to talk about. And I would have thought this was like your top moment, where you said the UA All American game. I thought winning a sevens game for Jamaica at Hong Kong Sevens would have been right up there.
It's up there. Like, it's something that I think about every single day, to be honest. People always ask, and will say to me, "You're not Jamaican." I said, "I represent Jamaica, so that's my Jamaican claim to fame." Like, we got an opportunity to meet the Jamaican Prime Minister.
Wow.
Because we won a game. Like, when you come from such a small island, your pride and your joy is with any form of success that you get, and obviously sport being that for us. Played the Cook Islands, Uruguay, Ireland. Awesome tournament. You know, sevens tournaments abroad are as fun as it gets. And playing with Jamaica changed my perception of rugby, because I wasn't thinking about the sport. I was enjoying the teammates that I had around me. I actually loved it. I actually really, really loved playing rugby. I wished all my rugby environments were like that. If it did, I probably would still be in rugby, to be honest. That's how much fun we had. But yeah, that was definitely up there. That's like top 2, top 3.
Yeah. And I guess that's where you had the opportunity of having that community, having the people that understand you, people that have the same kind of vibe as you, and they were all warm and welcoming, and having that in a sporting environment must have been A1.
Awesome, because it wasn't just private school people, it was people from the same sort of community as me.
Yeah.
But then even if it was the private school people, there was still a connection. Because sometimes you do get black guys in private school and you can tell they've been in the system too long, in the most respect. So
Uncle Toms.
you can really think about names, innit?
I said, bro, you'd be there for a minute.
So, so it's like, because of that, I was so happy, man. And yeah, rugby at that point, I was actually considering playing and just finishing and just playing rugby for Jamaica forever, to be honest. But obviously,
you gotta make a living, bro.
Gotta make a living.
You get paid to play in the sevens tournament?
Depending on who you play for.
I guess in Jamaica, they have it like that.
Nah, we ain't got it like that.
Oh,
we ain't got it like that. But it's one of them where you play for the pride of the country.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And like, you know, you go home to your grandma, you go home to your granddad, and they're so happy, like, what? We got a team. They're just so happy, innit? So that was obviously, like, if you can make your family proud, like, for me, that's more important than anything in the world.
Yeah, 100%, bro. And now tell us, what was the ELF like, the European Football League?
Yeah. It's
I butchered that. The EFL, European Football League. Sorry.
ELF. European League of Football.
European League of Football. There you go.
All good. You know what? It was such an extreme for me, because imagine going from college. I went big D1 college. I went to a JUCO, junior college. If you watch Last Chance U, I went to one of those colleges.
Yeah.
Everything that you want is put on the table. And then you go to Europe and it's like, whoa. Yeah, I get freedom. But everything that I had before isn't here now. I can't make my own gym program. We have training times, but like some guys still rock up a little bit late. It just felt so mad. Yeah, we play on big TV, but still, it almost felt like it was such a big contrast to anything I'd ever experienced. I didn't know what to do, I'll be honest.
It wasn't very professional is what you were saying?
My team wasn't. My first team wasn't.
Okay.
And we actually got dissolved.
Right.
Because yeah, it was a very difficult time for them, because I was in Istanbul. They had gone through a recession, and now all of the big sponsors pulled out. So the team had a chance to pull out too, but the team said, YOLO, we're just going to try it. But in sport, you can't just YOLO it, because American football is expensive. Think about this. You got to get each player a helmet and pads. You're going to need at least 70 people in your team, right? A helmet costs you £500. Pads cost you about £300-400 per player. You're already looking at 60-70 grand. And we've not even covered everything else. So I understand why it was so difficult for them. Like I said, I've got older, more mature. Yeah, I get it. But at the time, it was so tough. Because they're going from a big college environment to now you're getting paid peanuts. It's like because you're doing it for the love for the game, yeah. But then also as well, you know that there's a potential NFL opportunity on the horizon, so you just need some film. But for how much can you sacrifice your own body, your own health, and your own mental health just to be able to play the sport? I'm sorry. I respect myself too much.
Yeah. And this is the point where I want to bring in your two relationships, the relationship with your mum and the relationship with God. Because you then move back to America, if I'm correct in remembering the whole timeline. And like you're literally, you know, doing the most to try and do anything you can to get into the NFL, get a tryout, etc. Like you're living like very basic, right? From what I understand, and you're by yourself. And then obviously your mom comes to visit you from time to time, but then obviously you have this relationship with God, and I'm imagining it gets deeper at this period.
So it all started from a really weird point. Like, this is why I say, when you sit in the passenger seat and you let God drive, you don't have to open your eyes. You can literally close them, because when you do open them, you will love where the hell you got to. So I was working in cybersecurity. I basically played in Berlin, so broke my hand, got like 3 games in, broke my hand, boom, finished the season off. Terrible time for me in that sense, because I wanted a big season, right, to show some NFL teams what I had. So I said, screw it, I need to quickly just get a job, I need to make some money. I made no money in Berlin, I'm broke, cool. Then they decided to go 5 days a week in the office. I was working 3 days a week in the office. I'm getting home at 11 every day because I'm training as well as working a 9 to 6. And so at this point, I'm like, hold on. Why are you working all these hours? And also, if this job want to go 5 days a week, what happened to self-respect? You said that you want to be a prideful person. You said that you want to inspire the community when you get older, X, Y, Z. And you're just going to submit to a job? Come on, man, can't do that. So then I sat down and I brainstormed. I said, nah, I'm leaving that job tomorrow. So I told them. But then also as well, I start looking in the market. Boom, fully remote role. I get more time, I can train more. One of my friends that I went coastal with, I'm like, yo, man, like, I want to go to America, man. I miss it so much. He's like, hey, man, come Arizona. I got the not jet skis, but what do they have over there? I got the dirt bikes. Yeah. I got the house, the crib, everything. You just need the flight. I said, whoa. I was like, oh, I can't even do it. I got a wedding. I'm gonna one up you. I'm gonna move to Houston, YOLO. So then I said, all right, cool. I got to find a way to make this happen. Message all these coaches in Houston, do the research, X, Y, Z. Boom. I go to Houston. And it was just like, this is so surreal. I get past the airport, not the airport, I get past the aeroplane. And then I get Tyrese Johnson-Fisher, come to Border Patrol. I'm like, gang, come on, man. I had Border Patrol problems when I was in 2021 because of college, because they messed up my papers. They put down that I was getting a different visa, so they made a mistake. I need an F1 visa. I think they put down like an F2, so they made a mistake. I went to America, I went to Chicago, and I got sent right back.
Really?
So my visa always mashed up.
Them man don't play.
Them man don't play.
Really don't
Every
play.
single time I go to America, I get problems, right? So I'm in Texas at this point. Remember, Texas is next to South America. So you already have an idea as to what that's like. So at this point, I'm there. They've taken my phone. Like my boy from college, he's there to pick me up. I'm like, yo, gang, like, I'm stuck in Border Patrol. The guy literally supervises me, call him, takes my phone. I'm stuck in a box room for about 8 hours, not knowing what to do. I found a Christian cross in my chain, I put that on my neck, I said, God, please. I don't know how I'm going to get out, because I thought, I've already been sent back once in my life. I feel like it's going to happen again. I was just so strong in my faith. Lady came over and said, hey, come over here. Cool, go over, check my bank account, check how much money I got in my bank account. They have to check messages between my coaches. Boom, I get through. At that point, I knew this was meant to be. In short, I was working and training. I had meetings in England from 5 a.m. to like 5:45. I had training from 8 to 10, 3 to 4, with occasionally one in between that. And I was working in between all of that. Going to training was $60 each way. So like $60 each way. It was a 45-minute drive. So it was very expensive. So at this point, everything I was doing was going into training. Like, training with coaches isn't cheap. The Americans, they charge a lot of money. But what was awesome was my coach out there, right? I found this coach. We tried a couple coaches. I tried this coach. I'm like, hey, coach, I love what you guys do. You know, I'd love to, come down from the UK, X, Y, Z. He was with the Chief for like 9 years, running back. So I think he had a bit of an understanding as to the journey and to the grind. Finished the session. And he's like, how much can you afford? I said, I'll be honest, I thought this was like $300-400 a month. He goes, oh, no way, man. Like, guys are paying like $2,000 to $4,000 a month.
So who's paying? So is he like a gym? What is his job? What does he do?
They got an indoor facility, so they've got an indoor track, they got an indoor field, and they got a gym. So basically combine training.
That's it, 3 racks.
I said, whoa, that's the first time I cried in a while, man. My tears started falling. I'm like, gang, I finally found this place. I've come all this way. I tried a couple places before, did $80 a session for one guy, $80 a session for another guy, and I was just so disappointed. And then I finally found this guy, I'm so happy. And it's like, I can't even afford it. Like, you feel broke. You know that broke feeling? I'm like, I wish I had money. 5 minutes later, he says, you said 300, right? And I said, that's what I thought it was. He said, bet see you tomorrow. I said, whoa. You see the power of the man above, right? I was praying on it too. And it just felt like all of these pieces that I'd been trying to get just finally came together. Now I'm out there, like I said, yeah, I'm training, but I'm working like a dog. Like, I'm working from basically 5 a.m. to let's say 10 o'clock with breaks in between just to train. All my money's going on training. Everything's going on training, right? Got to pay rent, X, Y, Z. But also, I got to find NFL opportunities. Like, how the hell am I going to showcase all of the work that I'm putting in?
So you don't have an agent at this point?
No agent.
Okay.
So I've just, hey, I don't care. I'm just messaging anybody and everybody. So I finally find this massive combat. I'm like, whoa, okay, awesome. And then if you guys know the IPP one, the International Players Pathway one,
yeah.
Exam it. Yeah. So I was meant to do that one in Florida. Cool. I speak to the organizers. They're like, yeah, all right. I like what you're talking about. We can make it happen. But then the NFL PA, so the guys who are like trade union, I think maybe trade union or maybe the legal team, they're like, you know what? We actually can't have you do it because you left college a couple of years ago. So again, I didn't cry, but I'm just like, I'm so upset. 'Cause I'm like, there's nothing you guys can do. Like, I finally found 32 NFL teams are going to be there. Imagine this, 2 days post-combine, they're like, whoa, we made a mistake, you can do it. I said, guys, it happened 2 days ago. So I said, all right, cool. I need some help. Like, can you just give me and put me in contact with like a couple colleges that are having pro days so I can at least showcase what I've been training for. Like I run a damn 387 shuttle. Like I would have been one of the fastest people ever to run a shuttle. Like, I was in shape, working hard. But then I'm messaging every single, like there's like only a couple colleges that they're letting me do it for, because essentially they're like, you can only do a pro day in your catchment area. Catchment area of what, 50 miles? America's huge. What's 50 miles? So you're telling me I can only go to a college within 50 miles of Coastal Carolina? Gang, there's no college within 50 miles of Coastal Carolina. I'm screwed. All right, cool. So I'm messaging every college, calling every college, boom. Managed to find one. Lovely lady. Ended up being accepting of me, put me in contact with her coach, and she understood it was like, you know, to be discriminated upon in that sort of environment. So she really stuck her neck out and gave me the opportunity to be put in front of the right people. Next thing you know, it's the Thursday, Friday, I'm on a flight. I'm going to New York, New Jersey. Agent, papers, all of that signed. Boom, get to New York, New Jersey. New York Jets are there, New York Giants are there, Edmonton Elks are there. I'm like, this is like a pinch me moment. I'm like, golly, this is everything I've ever dreamt of. And I checked the weather forecast and I'm seeing 10 degrees and rain. I'm like, oh man, biggest day of my life. And now I got to run a 40-yard dash in 10 degrees and rain. I say, YOLO, boom, done it. It was like I didn't run like a 4.47, which is aight.
Yeah.
It's aight. But it was 10 degrees and raining. So imagine what I could run in the dry inside.
Right.
I'm just there bitter because I'm just like, man, imagine if I could have done that, the IPP pro day. I would have been inside. I was in better shape too, because now at this point I had like a 2-week buffer because I thought I was doing that pro day. I couldn't do it. So now I can barely train because I'm having to still contact people to be able to be seen, right? So then I'm like, all right, cool. Come back to England. And now I'm in a really, really weird place because I'm waiting for a call, don't know if I'm going to get one. I thought a 447 was okay, but I know they're not going to put a mark under the name to say that it was done in bad conditions. So I'm like, what do I do?
Yeah.
So obviously, now Prague, I had actually signed to Prague beforehand, and they said that they'd take me back. Because obviously I said I'm chasing this NFL thing, XYZ. But then also as well, I'm also in a bit of a limbo because the CFL draft is happening. And 2 teams spoke to my agent before, said, hey, we're picking Tyrese.
So this is the Canadian Football League?
Canadian Football League.
Yeah.
And my mum sitting right next to me, bro. They're reading out the names. My name doesn't come up. Hey, you know when your mum doesn't say anything and you can just feel her right next to you. And you're not touching her, you can feel her, right? I felt that pain. And it was such a horrible moment. Like I say, imagine you got 2 teams. The odds are great. 2 teams out of 12 offering, saying that they're going to take you. They don't. Terrible feeling. And they chose kickers, guys that had actually been drafted into the NFL. So I'm like, damn, this is a low. This is a real kick in the face. I'm hungry. All right, cool. I'm going to Prague.
Did the XFL ever come? Did the XFL ever come to mind?
XFL came to mind, but the problem is there's no grace. There's no grace period. In the NFL, there's a full program and system to develop guys throughout a year. In the XFL, you're literally, a coach is going there, getting a bunch of random players with the intention of winning together right now.
Right.
XFL is about right now. NFL, they give you a period to build. They give you years. They give you a guarantee of 2 to 3 years with an extension of a 4th. You can learn. XFL, you don't have that. So that's why I was just like, crap. I don't even know how I'm going to get to these leagues. All right, cool. Let me go to Prague. Go to Prague. Obviously, because I had signed before, they had signed somebody else in replacement of me. But then obviously didn't want to screw him over. I understand that. So cool. Now I got to sit for a couple of games. Give him his shot. Devastated. So I'm like, damn. I'm cutting up the defense in practice. Like, I'm in the shape of my life. What? I just had running back training with an NFL running back coach. What? I was in shape. Now, obviously, imagine one day, my boy, he's there with his girlfriend. They gave us a penthouse. I thought life was going to be sweet. They gave us
Okay, wait, this is in Prague?
In Prague.
It's a nice setup.
Nice setup. What? Nice setup. Hey, I'm in boxes. It's an important detail, right? I'm in boxers, cooking chicken. And then the GM comes, he knocks on the door. And then he's just sat on the chair awkward. He's like, "You cooking chicken, man?" I'm like, "Gang, can you not see where else am I cooking?" And he's like, man, I'm sorry, man, but I gotta release you."
Wow.
I'm like, huh? Like, slap me, real, like, slap me. Because, cool, I couldn't play the first couple games. I've given up nearly a quarter of my season. Now you're releasing me again. Alright, cool, say less.
What did he give a reason?
This doesn't make sense to have you if you're not playing.
Okay. So I'm intrigued. What's the salaries like playing in Europe?
Ooh. I don't know if anyone said it publicly yet.
Or is it top secret?
I don't know, to be honest. It depends. I'd give you a range.
Okay.
It will go, so you'll get free house,
Okay.
which obviously is a massive expense.
Yeah.
Massive expense. You'll get a free crib. You'll usually get a transport card or a team car
Okay.
to maybe share between 2 or 3 people. Sometimes some teams will give you food, and you may get like your little cleats or like these small little extra deals, SIM card, free Wi-Fi in the house. So pretty much any money you get is disposable. You'll get anywhere from like, as a European, anywhere from like 500 to like 2 grand a month.
Okay, euros.
So that's peanuts. But
I mean, if all your expenses are covered,
You can manage. You
that's-
can manage. You can manage a little bit. But I hear it's
but
I hear you.
that's
Though. It's tough money to have to.
But you know what? I was hyped because I was working 9 to 5. So I was just saving all that money. That money and extra was just going in my bank. So I was hyped.
Yeah.
I was hyped. But you know what it was, yeah? Getting released, it's such an ego burn.
You're not expecting it as well.
Because imagine everyone's coming up to you in the team saying, "Yo, you're killing us. Like, why aren't you playing?" Then you get released. Now at this point, you just realise that this sport's a business. So all of the teams in the league that needed a running back hit me up, offering me contracts. And I was just like, there was one detail on one contract, it was nuts. Imagine, somebody in one of the contracts, somebody said, if the quality of your play declines from what we expected, then we can reduce your salary by 25%.
Wow.
Think about how mad that wording is.
Yeah.
bruv, you're only giving us 500. You want to take another 25?
Yeah.
You know,
God.
you know what I mean? Obviously, me, I negotiate, I don't get 500.
Yeah, I know, of course.
Yeah.
That wasn't
Ain't no
like-
way.
Hey, I
Ain't no way.
negotiate my thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I was getting paid out, to be honest.
Right, okay.
But I was just like, nah, gang, you're violating at this point. I sat on it, spoke to God, spoke to my family, spoke to everybody, really, that I was really, really close with in that moment. And funny how the girl that just broke your heart just comes back saying, "Hey,
Well, go on.
I want you back in my life." I came back and said, "Hey, for you to come play for us again." I said, "Oh, I'm a bit hurt, but to be honest."
What was the time difference between them releasing you and then trying to hit you back again?
6 days, roughly.
6
Oh, my
days.
goodness.
Yeah, that's a proper type of move a girl will make. That's crazy, bro. 6 days.
6 days. I was still
Who
on
hurt you?
the.
Huh?
Who hurt you?
It's not about me today, bro. It's not about me today, bro. But I've had that.
You
before.
know what I mean? So like, it was peak. So obviously, my head is saying no. My heart's saying yeah, because it's like, I love the team. I actually really like the guys that I was around. It seemed like it was a great setup. Things were moving. So I said, all right, you know what? Put my pride aside. I'm gonna do it.
What's changed in those 6 days? Did someone get injured?
Somebody got injured.
Okay.
Somebody pulled a hamstring.
Okay.
And boom, came back to training, battling up everybody in training, and was just scoring touchdowns for fun. So like, we had a different buzz. Like, it felt great because I could really feel like some of the local guys they were really excited to have me around. And I guess I'm just like, I'm a naturally energetic person. in the sport, and when I'm on the sports field, right? And now, boom, a team that hadn't won a game in 2 years, we're finally winning the game. I scored my first drive. I'm like, whoa, this is like, if you could have written a perfect story, it doesn't get any better than this, right? Cool. I'm still moving the chains. I'm getting 10, 15 yard, 20 yard gains. Boom, it's looking like it's a perfect game, really. Fourth quarter, hip tackle, broke my foot. I said, oh, Lord, why? Because like, year before, broke my hand, and I was being looked at by NFL teams. Go to Houston, get very unlucky with many bits of controversy in that sense, with stuff that's been very unlucky. Cool. So I thought Prague was just going to be my clean slate.
Plain sailing.
And then getting injured, and it's just like, I can barely walk. I'm in a damn boot, and I'm just like, I'm heartbroken. And then this is when God played such an important part of my life, right? Cool. This would have been about June of last year. We get to August. Boom, I'm back in London. I'm in my bed. And I just sat there and I just said, hey, God, I know that you have a plan for me, but I don't know what that is. And I'm fine with not knowing, but I feel like a broken man right now. It feels like everything that I've done in this sport, I've always been set back. And are you telling me that I'm chasing something that I shouldn't be? Am I chasing this for the right reason? But then, am I a failure? Because now at this point, I'm just like, God, why is anything that I've tried to do in this sport, why has it never worked out? But everything else comes easy to me. If this is meant for me, please show yourself. Sunday, right? On the Monday, an old agent that got me to Bristol and helped me get in contact with the All American game, he sends me a message on YouTube, on WhatsApp, and he goes, yo, the Jacksonville Jaguars would be interested in working you out. Would you be interested? I said, oh my gosh. You see when you get goosebumps? Hey, I don't know if you watch WWE, yeah? You see when The Rock points at his goosebumps? It was that moment. It was nuts. So I was like, all right, cool. I don't know how I'm going to do this because I got a broke up foot. Like I can barely walk, but I got a 1 month or month and a half to prepare to be seen in front of an NFL team. What else? So then that time, I was just traveling to Bedford every week. Hours, 8 a.m. appointment. Crazy. To basically get like some treatment for my foot, XYZ. And then, boom, get this tryout with the Jaguars. And, damn.
What percentage do you reckon health-wise you were going into that?
I'd say about 87.
Okay.
But 87 for me is still good enough. Like I know I can perform at 87%. But like I said, like in August I couldn't walk, like barely. Like, everything I was doing was I couldn't from the time of June. I think I only started running properly in like September. Wow. Like it was nuts. Broken bone and 2 or 3 pulled ligaments in my ankle, with my MCL pulled as well. Crazy. But then, I can say I just believed in myself. So I just did everything that I could to try and get myself healthy. Because how often do you get an NFL team ready to work you out?
Yeah.
But then, problem is, right, you're in bed, and day before the thing, you're looking at the weather. Come on, man, not again.
The weather's playing you again.
Gang. It's 10 degrees and it's raining, and then you get there. Yeah, beautiful hotel. One of the nicest hotels I've ever seen in my life. Oh my gosh, right? But the workout's on the grass. I'm saying, gang, it's 10 degrees, it's rain, it's on the grass. Every single step I take is going to get sunk into the ground. So I said, all right, cool. Did the workout and performed pretty awesomely. They told me how much they liked what I did, XYZ. But then they said I got to get faster. I'm saying, gang, that's my special point. That's like my special superpower. But of course,
What time were you doing at this point?
so in training, I run like 4.4s.
Okay.
But then on the day, run a 4.8. But now, if you run 10 degrees, rain on grass, I guarantee it's a madness. Because I'm a powerful runner, right? Every single step I put into the ground, I get back. So if I'm putting them steps into the grass, I'm sinking. I'm not moving forward, I'm just sinking. So for me to get faster, so that's basically where I said to myself, all right, it's a humbling one. I don't think it's fair, because if you'd see me in another circumstance or situation, I guarantee you wouldn't be telling me to get faster. But understand, I'm not in the driver's seat. I would take that. Cool. Then I said, all right, cool, I need to get faster. How else am I going to do that? I have to be undeniable. So fast that at this point, you can never doubt me again. So great that you can never call me terrible again, right? And I decided to join a coach called Ryan Freckleton, his sprint group. Bunch of Olympic sprinters. Knew some of them from my days of running track. But then, after having a conversation with him, like a couple of days later, I got made redundant from my job. I'm thinking, how am I going to afford to do this? I don't really know about this one. But, end of the day, I said to myself, look, I've been in the office. I've had the experience of that life. And a lot of people don't love what they do. And a lot of people, when I've been in the office environment, they've lived through me. Because I've been able to play what I love and I've been able to do what I love, right? And so for me, I don't want to be 35, 40, 50, looking back and saying, what if? So if that means I got to make a sacrifice, it's got to be now. If that means I can't work, I can't work. I got to train, I got to train. That's what I got to do, right? So it was part of the sacrifice, and now we are into March, and ran a 4.32 a couple of weeks ago. So I'm in great shape. Daily Express hit me up asking to do a paper. So it's like the needle is slowly moving. It's just a case of when. Because if there's anything I know about my life, when it happens fast, it happens fast. It's very quiet, but then it goes fast. So.
Bro, by God's grace, it's going to come for you, bro. Go on, Afo.
So I'm intrigued. So in terms of running backs that are in the league or have played currently or retired, who would you say you're most similar to?
I'd say I'm a hybrid between Saquon and Le'Veon Bell.
Oh, okay, so that's serious work.
If you watch me play, I'm literally like spitting image of Le'Veon Bell.
Okay.
But I'd say I'm as athletic as Saquon in that sense, where there's a lot of things on the field that I can do. I do have that home run hitting speed, but then I can make you look silly as well. Like you're gonna think I'm gonna truck you, and I can. I've got the strength to. No, I'm selling you that way. I'm going to the other. So I'd say like a Saquon, really, like that sort of stuff.
That's exciting, bro. That's very exciting.
Yeah. No,
DeAndre Swift.
Okay.
Maybe a mix between that too.
I love that, bro. Man, Tyrese, man, that's been an episode, bro. You gave us some absolute gems, man. That was awesome to have you on, bro. And you keep hitting those four threes and
4.2s.
4.2s.
Trying to get to 4.2.
Trying to get to 4.2s, bro.
Yeah.
So what's next for you right now?
I wish I knew, to be honest. Like I say, I've become so humbled in my pursuit of success that I don't know what success looks like, because whatever I think success looks like is probably going to be the complete opposite. Yeah, I'm chasing American football, but what if that's not even my goal? What if my goal was not even my path? You know, obviously, WWE has come about now. I'm sitting at home, I'm looking at my DMs, I'm thinking, hey, this is gonna be fake.
This is one of the mandates.
This is somebody's made an account. I got a hater. Hey, look, I'm like, right, okay, this thing's actually legit. Got on the call with one of the guys who I thought was gonna be there, and then I see another guy on the Zoom call with a WWE background in the back in like a big office building. I said, whoa, okay, this is real now, for real, gang. Like, okay, this is making a lot of sense. Speaking to them, it just felt like an awesome experience. So
Hold on, bro. I'm just gonna kind of set this for the audience because they're thinking WWE, huh? Where did that come from? Essentially, obviously, the WWE have reached out to you from obviously seeing you social media clips and your athleticism as well, and they want to give you a tryout to be a part of the WWE, which is unreal. As a former WWE fan myself, you know, The Rock was my guy, still is. The fact that you're gonna have a tryout for them is pretty cool.
Massive.
Thank you. It was, seeing that message was just like unbelievable. Like when you see a message that says WWE, whatever, and even if you see the tick, you know, people pay for blue ticks these days. You just never know what's real and what's fake.
Yep.
So seeing that and doing my research, jumping on a call, speaking to a guy, and one of them has the WWE logo on the back, and you can literally see it's like legit. He's got WWE in his email.
It's not a background.
It's not a background. What? Hey, at this point, I'm just sitting there. I had a Jamaican top on. I wanted to show that I was proud for where I come from, innit? So I had a Jamaican top on. And so I was just like, all right, cool. Let me see what these guys are talking about. And it just felt so like me. You're telling me that I can be an athlete. I can act in the sense of like speaking. I can express myself and I won't be scrutinized for that. Oh my gosh, this like makes a lot of damn sense. And I guess just like from doing my research a lot more, watching some of these shows, it just feels like such an awesome environment. And every single person, like I've been doing a little bit of wrestling training, right? Every single person that I've spoken to has been so friendly and so welcoming. Like, you know how awesome that is, where you spent, let's say, 6 consistent years of chasing people down, maybe even 7 years of like, for example, American football, right? I left Bristol, cool, I got to pay rent. I worked in recruitment, so I had to train and I had to find American schools to speak to. Did my training in the morning, work, try and find these schools. Their time zone's mad. So I've got to find my time to speak to Americans between the times of the hotspot was from 7 to 2 a.m. Just contacting schools.
Wow.
All the time, getting grafting, bro. And now finally someone recognizes that graft, appreciates it, and makes you feel like one of them. Okay, this feels to me like an opportunity worth taking.
100% it is, man. And we at TSAP are wishing you all the best.
All the best, man.
And once they sign you up, man, we're going to come wherever you are in... Where's WWE based now?
Orlando.
Orlando. Wow, okay, the development center is in Orlando, so we're going to come down and do another one of these over there, you know what I mean?
Awesome.
No, Tyrese, honestly, bro, thank you for coming on the pod, man. It's been an absolute pleasure. Bro.
Pleasure.
Appreciate it, my bro. Thank you. Appreciate it, man.
Afo, get us out of here, man.
Hey, we've enjoyed that one, like we say every week. Like, comment, subscribe, show us love. That is the Sports Afterparty podcast. Thank you very much.
Welcome to the party.
I'm a different type of rock star. I got class and I got Henny overflowing up my shot glass. And yeah, I know I'm not a keeper, but can you be my mama's seater by the time I'm done with